Success isn't about adding more to your life. It's about removing what holds you back. Every dream you have is waiting on the other side of 3 habits you must quit. The question is, are you ready to stop? What's stopping you? Procrastination is one of the greatest barriers to achievement, yet it disguises itself as comfort. It tells you, you can start tomorrow. It whispers, you have time, don't rush. But every day spent delaying is a day lost forever, a day that could have brought you closer to your goal. When you procrastinate, you are not only postponing a task, you are postponing your potential. Think about it. How many times have you had a brilliant idea, a powerful plan, or a dream that lit a fire in your mind, only to push it aside for later? Weeks pass, months pass, and suddenly that fire begins to dim, not because the dream wasn't possible, but because action never arrived to feed it. The truth is, procrastination feeds fear. It keeps you comfortable in the present because stepping forward feels risky. It convinces you that waiting until you're ready is the smart move. But there is no perfect moment. There is no magical time when conditions are flawless. Waiting for that day means waiting forever. Great achievers are not the ones who feel no hesitation. They are the ones who take action despite hesitation. They start before they feel prepared. They know that momentum builds confidence, not the other way around. First step may feel uncomfortable, but it's the one that creates progress. Start small. Don't aim to finish the entire journey in a single day. Begin with one task, one phone call, 1 hour of focused work. Success is rarely about giant leaps. It is about small, consistent steps taken daily. Replace, I'll do it later with, I'll start now even if it's small. That single shift changes your entire... Imagine how different your life would look a year from today. If you did one meaningful thing toward your dream every single day. 1 year of small actions can transform into massive results. Procrastination also robs you of energy. When a task lingers unfinished in your mind, it weighs you down. It steals focus, creates stress, and builds a quiet guilt that follows you through the day. The moment you start, the weight lifts. You feel progress, and progress fuels motivation. So ask yourself, what have you been putting off? What dream has been waiting for you to stop waiting? Don't let procrastination decide your future. Every great success story begins with a single act of starting. Not tomorrow, not next week, but now. One of the greatest obstacles to personal success is the constant need for approval. Many people live their entire lives according to the expectations of others, parents, friends, society, or strangers online. They measure their worth through likes, applause, and validation, hoping someone else will confirm their value. But success is not built on approval. It is built on action, vision, and self-direction. Yet when you chase approval, you hand over control of your life. Every decision becomes filtered through the question, what will they think? Instead of asking, what do I want? What matters to me? You let outside voices dictate your path. And here's the hard truth. No matter what you do, someone will always have an opinion. If you succeed, they may say you were lucky. If you fail, they may say they saw it coming. Either way, their opinions change nothing about your ability to move forward. Think about the greatest innovators, leaders, and creators in history. They were often criticized, doubted, or even ridiculed when they began, but they understood something powerful. Approval is temporary, but purpose lasts. They didn't wait for applause to take action. They trusted their vision enough to keep going, even when the crowd stayed silent or turned against them. Seeking approval also creates fear. Fear of judgment, fear of rejection, fear of standing out. It keeps you small because stepping out of line means risking someone's disapproval. But every dream requires the courage to move beyond that fear. You cannot build a life of greatness while staying inside the lines drawn by someone else. The truth is, people are too focused on their own lives to think about yours as much as you imagine. That comment, that opinion, that criticism you're worried about, it will be forgotten by tomorrow. But the opportunities you miss while hesitating could be gone forever. Instead of approval, seek alignment with your values, your goals, and your vision. Ask yourself, does this choice bring me closer to the life I want or further away? That is the only standard that matters. Approval fades, but progress stays. Here is the most freeing part. When you stop living for the applause, you gain the freedom to try, to experiment, to fail, and to grow. You no longer need to play it safe. You no longer need to hide your ambitions to avoid judgment. You start living boldly because you realize your worth was never meant to be measured by someone else's opinion. Excuses are comfortable. They protect the ego, soften failure, and shift blame away from effort. But they also build invisible walls that trap potential and keep success out of reach. Every excuse tells a story, and the story always ends the same way. I couldn't because, yet the truth is simple. Progress begins the moment excuses end. Think about how many times you have explained why something didn't happen. I didn't have enough time. I didn't have the right resources. I wasn't ready. Each statement feels valid in the moment, but look closer. Was it really about time? Or was it about priorities? Was it about resources? Or was it about resourcefulness? Was it about readiness? Or was it about fear? Excuses are often clever disguises for hesitation. They appear reasonable, even logical, but they do nothing to move you forward. Every time you use one, you confirm that something outside of you holds the power to decide your future. And the longer you believe that, the more distant your goals become. The most successful people are not the ones who had perfect conditions. They are the ones who decided to act in imperfect ones. They understood that responsibility is the foundation of achievement. Not partial responsibility, not shared responsibility, full responsibility. They stopped saying, I can't and started asking, how can I? That single shift changes everything. Taking responsibility does not mean blaming yourself for every obstacle. It means owning your response to it. You may not control the economy, the weather, or the circumstances you were born into, but you control how you think, how you act, and how you move forward. And that control is enough to change everything. Excuses also drain energy. They create a cycle of frustration because deep down, you know you are capable of more. Each excuse delays progress and builds a quiet dissatisfaction, a feeling that lingers long after the excuse has been spoken. But action, even small action, replaces that weight with momentum. To break free, start catching your excuses in the moment. When you hear yourself say, I don't have time, ask, what can I cut to make time? When you say, I don't know how, ask, who can I learn from? Shift from limitation to possibility. Imagine how far you could go if excuses no longer stood between you and action. Imagine replacing every reason why you can't with one reason why you must. That is the turning point where success begins, not in words, but in decisions made when excuses no longer define the outcome. Success is not built overnight. It is not a single action or a lucky break. It is a series of choices made day after day, choices that require ownership and consistent effort. Many people dream big, but few commit to the daily habit that turn those dreams into reality. They want results, but they resist the process. And that is where the gap is created, the space between wanting success and working for it. Ownership is the starting point. It means accepting full responsibility for your life, your actions, and your outcomes. No excuses, no blame. When you take ownership, you stop waiting for someone else to open a door for you. You stop hoping for circumstances to change. You understand that the future you want is in your hands, and the decisions you make today will either build it or break it. Consistency is the bridge between effort and achievement. Anyone can show up once with energy and enthusiasm. The real test is whether you can keep showing up when it feels repetitive, when progress is slow, when no one is watching. That is the part most people avoid. They want excitement, not discipline. But true growth happens in those quiet, ordinary moments. When you choose to stay committed, even without instant rewards. Go think about how success compounds. One workout out does not transform your body, but months of consistent training. One book does not make you an expert, but years of daily learning. One conversation does not build a network, but ongoing connections will. The pattern is clear, small, repeated actions create big outcomes. The challenge is that consistency rarely feels urgent. It's easy to put it off because the results are not immediate. Missing one day doesn't seem like a big deal until day becomes 1 month and the goal slips further away. The people who rise above are the ones who keep going even when it feels like nothing is happening. They understand that progress is often invisible at first, but every action counts. Ownership and consistency also protect your vision from distractions. When you own your goals, you stop comparing yourself to others. You stop asking, why don't I have what they have? And start asking, what can I do today to move closer to what I want? That mindset shift creates power because you are no longer at the mercy of chance. You are in control of your effort. So ask yourself, what choices are you making every day? Are they aligned with the life you say you want? Are you taking ownership, or are you waiting for someone to rescue you? Are you consistent, or do you only show up when it's convenient? Success is not about grand gestures. It is about what you do repeatedly. The question is not whether you can do it once, but whether you can keep doing it long enough for the results to appear. Every dream you hold is waiting on the other side of one decision. The decision to stop holding yourself back, stop procrastinating, and start moving. Stop seeking approval and trust your vision. Stop making excuses and take full ownership of your journey. And above all, show up with consistency, even when no one is watching. Success is not a mystery, it is a pattern. It belongs to those who act, those who commit, and those who refuse to let fear or delay steal their future. The life you want is not in some distant tomorrow. It is built today, choice by choice, step by step. So take the step, take it now, and watch how far it carries you